go ahead and close it out, and with a former senator with the Guam legislature, Republican side of the ballot, Joanne Brown, former Senator Joanne Brown. Good morning, Joanne.
Hey, Chris, how are you? Good morning, Chris and Sabrina.
Good morning.
We're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to talk to you. It's good to have you guys back on the airwaves in the morning.
Thank you so much. We'll just get right into it, Senator, because the clock is ticking now.
Sure.
We have incumbents, right, who have been in, and people have been, talking smack about some of the incumbents. What we are also seeing is an attempt to return to the service from, Frank Plaza Jr., obviously yourself. So I guess we'll start there. What prompted you to run for senator after, kind
Well,
of
as you know, Chris, as you know, Chris and Sabrina, it's been many, many years since I ran for office, and probably politically I'm the oldest candidate because in terms of service, I first ran for office 26 years ago and was able to be elected by the people to 6 consecutive terms. The reason I'm running, to be quite direct, I'm really concerned and a bit dissatisfied with the leadership direction that I'm seeing out there right now, particularly in the Guam legislature with the lack of check and balance. I mean, as we've often discussed, we're going through some very challenging times with this whole pandemic. It's had tremendous impact on our people, tremendous impact on our economy, and just our day-to-day way of life that we're used to. And I expected more. I expected more leadership to stand up and be more engaged and be more responsive and be more active. I don't see that. I mean, I see the legislature going into session for a day or two, and then you don't hear from them for weeks. And having had the experience of being in the legislature myself, I was just dissatisfied. I had not ever expected at this time in my life I would run for the legislature again. But I think that's probably why I and some of the former legislators that have the experience, certainly on the Republican side, are standing up to be counted, even though it's going to be even more challenging times ahead. But I think we can be making better decisions and have better leadership and check and balance than what we're seeing now.
So what are we going to see if, Senator, you're elected for your 7th term? What will be your priority?
Well, I certainly want to see, the superpower process at the legislature end and the rule of 8 votes make a difference. Right now, there's a lot of fanfare last year when you had all the Democrats elected to all the different positions, in all the different branches of government. But now that we've had a year and a half into this process and looking where that has led us, it's not led us in a very good direction. And certainly I would like to see that. I would like to see more engagement. I would like to see more oversight. I definitely want to see more check and balance with this government and the activities that are happening out there that are not being addressed, are not being looked into, are not being brought to light. Certainly as I go out and about my day and meeting many people now that I've also had time to slow down a bit and hear what people have to say out there, they don't hesitate to relate to me. Even if I don't know them personally, they may know who I am, come up to me and relay what their concerns are and their dissatisfaction with the government. And we're such a small community that inevitably a lot of the things that are going wrong are going to impact so many of our people. And I gauge there's a tremendous dissatisfaction out there. People want something better than what they're seeing now. And that's, as I mentioned, one of the main reasons why I'm running. I think we need an accountable government. I think we need a transparent government. And while you hear a lot of people use those words, you don't see them put it into action. So, I mean, talk is easy. We can sit and talk all day. But what are we doing to actually ensure that we have an accountable government? What are we doing to ensure that we don't have the level of corruption that is going unchecked and unreviewed and away from the light of day that should happen with regards to our government and our government resources that are owned by the people? So certainly if I'm given the opportunity by the people of Guam to once again serve another term, I will continue to be just as direct and just as accountable as I've always been the 30 plus years that I've served in public service.
Senator, you talked about the oversight. So, let's say fast forward, you're elected, Republicans take the majority, you got the committee of your choice. Which agency would you want to have oversight over and why?
Well, I've had a lot of experience with a number of agencies, certainly with natural resources, with both the utilities, with GPA and GWA. But I don't think there's any doubt, Chris, if I were elected into the next legislature, transportation and my experience of the Port Authority is definitely going to be an oversight that I would want to be very much involved in.
I don't know why I think that's funny. I just because I've thought about it. I don't know. Fantasize is the wrong word, but the just you being able to have an oversight hearing, because you're right. The checks and balances woefully absent when we talk about everything that's just transpired at the port with the port 7, and I mean, I kind of figured you were going to say that, but knowing how strong of a stance you've taken on that, it's I mean, people are bashing on you. So was that something that you kind of expected, Senator?
Well, I think anyone who should be in this oversight position, I mean, Clint Rigel, who has been the oversight chair for the Port Authority, probably a lot of people don't even know he's the oversight chair because you haven't really seen him, or I haven't seen or heard much of what he's done with regards to what's happening at the Port Authority. And as you mentioned, some of the controversial issues that are happening there. And it's not so much because I have a personal interest in it. It has a lot to do with ensuring that people are responsible. I think all of us that are put in public positions, and it's not just elected positions because you're the senator or the governor or the mayor. I think anyone who works in the government of Guam is a public servant, and everyone has to be held to a certain level of performance and responsibility. And if people are not doing that, I mean, there's rules and procedures that are in place to properly address that. And then when you see, as this new administration has come in with the current leadership of the general manager there at the port right now, Rory Respicio, and the actions that he has taken to continuously be paying public money out without ensuring the proper process has been followed and ensure the legal process has been followed, you got to wonder what's going on and why aren't questions being asked and why aren't they being made to be answered? Because to me, this is not normal. In the whole history of the government of Guam, where have you ever seen this? Even currently now in every department and agency in the government of Guam, where are you seeing this practice? But what you are seeing is an awful lot, far more than $3 million has been paid out in the past year and a half by this current administration and leadership at the Port Authority. And I think that there's something there that we all need to be concerned with and we all need to be looking into. Senator,
I got to ask you, I mean, I wouldn't be me if I didn't, to comment on this audit that came out from the OPA, centering really on raises that you got during your tenure as the port GM. I don't know if we got you on the record about this, but like I said, it wouldn't be me if I didn't ask. So your response?
No, not at all. I totally understand, Chris. I do have to say, with regards to my time at the Port Authority, I followed the process and procedures that were given to me. I worked under the direction of the board. I followed that process. I mean, I have nothing to hide with regards to my job or my work performance, which I was told regularly that I did exceptional. My performance evaluations show that for every single year that I was there as the general manager. So certainly, while the audit has come up with concerns as to how the board needs to implement their procedures, as far as my role and what I did and my performance as a general manager, I stand by that performance and the direction and supervision that I was given by the board of the Port Authority of Guam.
Right. Let's talk about the environment, because one of the many hats that you've held within the government is also, I want to say, former Deputy Administrator of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency, correct?
Yes, actually quite a number of years ago during the
Yeah.
Out of Laws administration, I had been appointed as the Deputy Administrator for Guam EPA back in my early 20s. And
Out of
one of
laws.
the jobs that I loved and
Wow.
was very passionate about, and something actually still, all these many years later, I still have a tremendous interest in, of course, just the creation and being an advocate for the creation of the marine preserves and having my Natural Resource Committee support that and get that legislation through the Guam legislature. And all these many years later, things that are going to benefit us into the future is ensuring our water quality and our water supply for not just now, but also the future, and supporting the hydrogeologic survey that's been in place for many years with WERI. So that we not only have the resource now, but how do we learn about it? How do we understand it? I've had and seen many students at the University of Guam that have gone through this particular program and have graduated as water experts, not just for Guam, but the region. And so those are things that I'm very passionate about, and certainly still, while I've held many other hats over the years, I still maintain a lot of interest and support for balancing our natural resources. And certainly those resources are going to be challenged more into the future as we move ahead, and more the reason we need to pay a lot more attention. It's a lot more popular now than it was, almost 26, 27 years ago when I was the Deputy Administrator at Guam EPA. But these are issues that are close to my heart.
Right.
Let's talk economy. As Republican candidate, obviously, there's been a lot of chatter from the party about the economy. What are your plans, or just your thoughts on revitalizing what many say is dead in the water?
Well, I think we need to pay a lot more attention to the economy than has been paid. I mean, I can't imagine being a business person right now struggling either because my business was slowed down or closed because of COVID, and then probably feeling pretty ignored by the government in general with regards to addressing concerns that I would have as a private business owner or my employees. So that's something I am concerned about, because fundamentally, Chris and Sabrina, if you do not have an operating, vibrant economy, you're not going to have the revenues to support the government at the current level that it is. When I left the legislature, we were looking at, budgets of just a little over $500+ million. And now you look at the budget and they're talking of over close to $1 billion, if not more, if they don't pare that back down. And while certainly we have the government can charge taxes, and we certainly have the federal government investment during this COVID crisis, we have the military presence, but that in and of itself is not going to be enough to support this government. And we want our people working. I mean, it is very concerning that we have over 34,000 people reported that are unemployed as a result of this, and the slowdown and almost non-movement within our tourism industry, not just those businesses, the hotels, but all the support industries that survive off the tourism industry. We need to be very concerned. And I'm not hearing an awful lot of discussion about how are we going to slow this train down with regards to government spending so that we can ensure that there's not going to be a big sudden drop in revenue. I'm still not comfortable with what I'm hearing, that, oh no, we're fine, everything's good, we got the money, we're going to be short $4 to $8 million. We've never experienced to this level. I mean, we've had major typhoons, we had a major earthquake in '93. Those were short-term impacts that we were able within a very short period of time to get back on track. But something of a sustained impact for these many months to our industry that's impacted so many of our people, I think we really need to look how the government can assist and facilitate to get our businesses back on track. Because ultimately, if we don't, we're going to be in for a lot of pain in the future, not just next year or the year after, but many years into the future. And I don't think that's what most people want. And certainly it's not something we want as a community. We want to get our people working. And I think that needs to be a bigger priority. I think the vision needs to extend beyond just the government of Guam, because the government of Guam is a component, but the government of Guam is there to support our people, not the other way around. And I think we need to be mindful of that.
Okay.
We still got a few minutes here, Senator. Is there any piece of legislation that you are keen on introducing if you get a seat in the next legislature?
Well, I'm certainly going to be looking at the government spending, of reducing that, because I think we're going to have some challenges. I think we need to look how more effectively we can manage our government resources through what's going to be some challenging times in the next year or two. I'm also going to want to ensure that our government's becoming more user-friendly. And it pains me when I see people having to line up like we do at Rev and Tax. I just drove by there the other day early in the morning, and I saw cars lined up out on the road because they couldn't get into the parking lot. And there's got to be a better way of servicing our people and making our government more user-friendly, because right now we're at the mercy of the government because we need to register our car or get a driver's license. There has to be a way that we can more effectively make our government more user-friendly, especially when we're expecting them to pay money to the government. And then more importantly, I think our government needs to be more accountable. If we don't have that as a foundation of everything else, we're going to fall short. And I think we're seeing time and time again where our government is not as transparent, even though those words are used very often these days. The actual practice and implementation of it is not there. And actually addressing the corruption issues that are happening. I mean, a lot of our people see it, they know it. A lot of our good government employees in the government know and see it every day in the work that they're doing. And I think we need to start looking at that and taking that out from the root and getting our government back on a good and positive track, which is what I think our voters out there want to see.
Right,
1 minute to close, Senator.
Thanks, Chris and Sabrina. Again, it was good to talk to you. I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to, not just for you to ask questions, but me to be able to get my point of view out there to the public. I know they have many choices in this upcoming election, but if they really want to see a change and they're dissatisfied with the current direction that they're seeing out there, I hope they will consider voting for me and a lot of our candidates, certainly on the Republican side of the ballot, that will really make a difference. Because if we are in there, we do have a majority. I think you're going to see some immediate changes and accountability that you've not been seeing. And I think it's important to keep everyone on their toes. And it's really time to shift that direction. If we don't, we're going to get more of what we have. And from what I hear from people out there, that's not what they really want anymore. So they've got the power to do that this upcoming primary and certainly November. And if they consider me, I would be happy to have one of their votes.
All right. Thanks
Well,
a
there you
lot,
go.
Senator. Good luck to you.
Thank you. It's good to talk to both of
You
you.
too.
Take
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Wash your thumbs. Well, that was a lot of fun. This is like my favorite part of the show.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's cool.
You're catching up with some